Okay. So today we'll be seeing 5.7 PHP user-defined functions. Now we had seen previously some predefined functions, right? Predefined functions were a kind of this, some predefined functions for strings, some predefined functions, some predefined if control, right? Many functions we had seen, many different kinds of operators we had seen, right? So there are certain inbuilt functions. Array is also a kind of function. But then I don't want those functions. I want a different function. I want my own concepts to be put down into as a program, right? If I want certain calculator to be done. So calculating, there are no functions for calculations as I want. Okay, so if I want it in my way, then I can define certain functions which I require, and those functions can do a particular task. Repeatedly, if I want that function to do the task, and I want my program size to be less because I don't want to give the same statements again and again. So what I can do is I can club them together, keep it in a function, and whenever I want it, I can call it. Okay, so I have a calculator. I have many different functions on it. I have addition, subtraction, division, multiplication. Not necessarily I will be doing all the four functions. No. First, I will be adding. So I'll be adding more. I will be adding 10 numbers. So my addition function is being called 10 times. Okay. Then whenever I want some multiplication, then I will call the multiplication function. But till that time, whichever is the need, I will be doing that. So the functions are the functions which I want. Predefined functions are there in the program, and plus it gives me a freedom to create my own functions also. Okay, so how I will create function, how I will declare it, and how I will execute it, we'll see that. A function is a block of statements that can be used repeatedly in a program. Okay, what is a function? Function is a block of statements. I have one statement, two statements, a block of statement that can be used repeatedly. Whenever I call the function, I can use it. Again, I can call. So repeatedly, my program is doing that particular task, those block of statements. That is called a function. It will not execute immediately when a page loads. Very important. This will not execute on its own. Whenever the page is loading, I will feel when the page loads, my function should start, but no. But will be executed by a call to a function. I need to give a call to my function, user-defined function. Okay, I need to give a call and then I can start my function. Along with the built-in PHP functions, we can always create our own functions. We have many different functions, but apart from that, along with that, we can create our own functions. A user-defined function declares, declaration starts with the word function, very important one. Can you see here, this keyword? Whenever the browser will see this keyword, he will know that it is a function and he will search for the function name. A function name can start with a letter or underscore, not a number. Function names are not case sensitive. You can take any function names. Okay, so how I declare my user-defined function is function and function name. But previously, I was not doing that for predefined functions. Right, for predefined functions, I was just using it as they are written. This is str length, str word count. How am I using? I did not use any function keyword here. I directly used the predefined functions. But if I want to use my functions, then I need to go for giving this keyword, writing this keyword, and showing that it is a function. Then in curly brackets, I can write which code I want to execute. But the thing is, function name should be having, at the last, it should be having the round open bracket and round close bracket. This should be there. Why it is there? Because if I want to pass on certain arguments, if I want to pass on the numbers which I want to add, then I can pass those arguments in this bracket. Okay. Now for sample program, PHP function. Now this keyword I got, right? Once I get this keyword, the browser will understand that there is a particular name of that function and this is user defined function. So what is the name of this function? Write MSG and the bracket open, bracket close. Then I have curly brackets. One statement I have stating echo, this is user defined function. Okay. So I have closed this and I have write MSG. This is my call. Once I give this statement, that means I call this function. The browser will go through each and every statement, and when the pointer will come here, then he will understand, I need to call certain function. It is a function because I have round brackets and I have a particular name. That means it's a function. Then it starts searching for that function. Not necessarily I will just have one function, but I will have many different functions which I can use in my program. Now, this is just a 4-line program you can see, but if I am creating certain software with PHP, creating certain app with PHP, how many codes will be there? You can't imagine. So many functions I'll be using, so many codes I'll be using. So I will be calling those functions again and again in many different pages. So my code is very complex. In that case, the browser will search for the name of the function and whatever is there in the bracket, it will execute that. Okay? So I need to call a function. When I call the function, then only my function will take place. Or else it will not take place, and I got the answer as this is user-defined function. Okay? Then PHP function argument. As I told you, we have brackets open and close. Why are those? For passing on the arguments, for passing on the numbers, for passing all the alphabets, whatever the user is writing. If I want to pass that to the function, then I can get those arguments. Now, I want to add 3 numbers. So my function is addition function, but my function is just doing addition. But if he is not getting the numbers, what he is going to add, right? So he needs a certain numbers to add. So the which numbers he want, the numbers are there in my program, or the numbers are inserted by the user. So the numbers which are inserted by the user has to be given to the adding function. Then he will add the numbers. Correct? The same way, I want certain arguments for finishing off the function of that particular status, right? If I want to complete that function, if I want, why that function is made? Because it has certain tasks, right? It has to do certain work. So if I pass on the arguments, then only the work is to be done. Or else the work, he just knows he needs to calculate, but he is not being given with the numbers. I will not get the answer and my program is wrong. Okay, so I require arguments and they are very necessary, they are very important. You can't skip those. If you have certain programs wherein you don't require any arguments, the function itself is having certain values, then no need of any arguments. I will see. Information can be passed to functions through arguments. How is the information passed? How are the values passed? Through the arguments. An argument is used like a variable. Arguments are specified after the function name inside the parenthesis. The following example has a function with arguments $roll number and $name. Now $roll number and $name are my variables, right? These two are my variables. Now what they told me is, what they are telling me is, here, if I have a function, I have function name, and in this brackets, what am I passing on? These are my arguments, $roll number, $name. as I declare the variables, the same way I'm declaring the variables here also in the bracket, in the parenthesis. What do you mean by bracket is parenthesis. Okay, so I am sending two variables in my function. Echo roll number is dollar roll number and name is dollar name. So whichever values are being passed on here are shown here, right? So my echo roll number is roll number, name is name, br break, and over with my function. Then student one for student. Here, this is my calling. I am calling the function, right? Only the thing previously was this was the empty bracket, but now it is filled up with certain number and the name. So student, if I call this function, my first value will go to roll number. Second value will be passed on to name. Okay, so I am passing on the values to my function so that in the next statement, it will fetch the roll number, fetch the name, and I can get the output of this particular program, right? So first time, I'm passing on 1 and Ashwini. Second time, once it's done, this statement is displayed, printed. Then I have second, again, I am calling this function student, and now I am passing on the values like 2 and Raj. Right? So I am passing on the value of 2 to my roll number and Raj to my name. Then again, the print command will print 2 and Raj. Third time, again, I'm calling this function and I'm passing on the values 3 and Sonam. Okay. So what output we will get is this. All the 3 times I get the display, the printed value of roll number 1 and Ashwini, second roll number 2 and Raj, third roll number 3 and the name Sonam. Okay, my function is just this much, but it is showing me so many different statements because here I got many calls for the function. So many times the same function is called and the answer is changed. String value is written in double quotes. Can you see here? 1 is written as 1, but if I have certain string value, it is written in the double quotes. Returning value. Okay. Now what did we see? What did we see? We have a function and we call that function. So I have a calling mode. And then if I want the function to return me the values, okay, I have a function. Then that function I am, after my work is done, after I get to know your function, what happens? I am calling that function. So call goes to the function. Function calculate something. If I say I want to calculate 2 numbers, so what will I be doing? I will pass on 2 values from my program to the function. I will call the function and pass on the values. If I say 2 and 4, the values went to the function calculated it, function added it. But after adding, the answer is with him only, right? The answer is displayed. Okay, if I say display the answer is displayed in the function itself. But I want to further take out the percentage of the total value or take out certain different things. Okay, so if I want to do all these things, I need to return the answer to my function, returning, right, to my program. I want to send the answer to the function, then I can do it this way, right? So it is returning the value. To let a function return a value, use the return statement. Understood the logic behind it? What do you mean by a function? What do you mean by calling? What do you mean by giving the attributes, giving the values, and then returning the value to the program? Okay. if, for example, we'll see this program. PHP function. Once the browser will see this function, it will state that it is a function and the name of this function is sum. So what is passed on, which arguments are passed in this is x and y. And this $x, $y, these variables are integer variables. So I have only integer values within this. Now what this function does is adding, right? Addition of two numbers, one number and two number, I added up. Now the value, the answer is stored in Z. I got the added answer of x and y and the answer is stored in Z because I have an equal to assignment operator. What does the equal to assignment operator do? It adds or concatenates, right? So if I get the answer, my answer is there in $Z. But I need to pass the answer back to my program. Then I will give return statement, return keyword I will write, and which value I need to return, $Z. I have returned the value as $Z and I got the different functions, okay? Different statements. Now, see here, echo 5 plus 10. Okay, so I have echo, I have two values, 5 plus 10 equal to. Then I have dot sum 5 comma 10. So dot I am using here. So this I am calling. This dot y I am giving because I am getting the value which is stored in the memory. But who is having that value? Sum 5 comma 10. So I'm calling the function and telling the function that take these two values. So this becomes 5 and this becomes 10. Then I give a BR, okay, and answer for 5 plus 10 is here. 5 and 10 is done here, and the answer I got is 15. So this 15 value is displayed here. Can you see? 5 plus 10 equal to 15. Okay, break, come down for the next one. Second time I am passing on the values 7 and 3. So my call function, my function is called, the values are given back to the function, okay? Then the function adds up, 7 plus 13. The answer is given to $Z and that $Z value is passed on to the sum and I get 20. Next is 2 plus 4. Again, I call the function and pass on the values 2 plus 4. 2 plus 4 answer is 6. So I got the answer as 6. Clear? How is the function? How is the returning? How is the declaration of the function? Passing on the arguments. Right? Now, you just see stuck it properly to that. If this is not working, one more I have it. You just let me know. Okay, next is form handling. PHP form handling. We had seen forms in HTML, right? The same forms we can create and handle in PHP also. We used JavaScript for validating it. Now we'll see how we can handle PHP forms in PHP. A simple HTML form with 2 input fields and a submit button. Just a small one, right? I have just 2 input fields and a submit button. Finish. How can I create this? I can create this as form, the attribute action, welcome.php. That means after I click on submit, it should go to welcome.php. Method is post. Name. So I have my first field as name, input type as text, and name as name because it is showing me the name of that particular user, right? I want the user to insert the name. Second is email, input type as text and name as email. Here I can mention that input type as email also because it is a kind of email. Okay, So input type submit. So I have two fields, one text box here, other text box here, and third is my submit button. Okay. Can you see the can you see the output? I have name here. I have name, first text box, second email, second text box, and my submit button. But here I did not give any values, and here I got submit query. So I need to mention the value as submit query. Okay, then you will get this as a display. By default, it is submit. Okay, so I can handle a form when the user fills out the above information and clicks the submit button. The form data is sent for processing to a PHP file named welcome.php. Right? It is for further processing. It's given to because action we wrote as welcome.php. So when the data is submitted, then it will start processing. It will start checking. Okay, the form data is sent with the HTTP post method. Here, two types of methods we had, get and post. Get, what does get do? It gets and shows all the data in the address bar. But post, what he does? He gets the data, but he passes on without showing it to the user, right? So here, the form data is sent with the HTTP post method. The code for welcome.php looks like this. My HTML body, welcome. I have PHP, I have echo, I have $post and name. Okay, so echo, what am I displaying here is $post name. So what is there in the $post as name? What is there in the name? What I have written here as the name? Can you see here? Bal Bharti. Then your email address is, I have written this and this echo I want. So welcome के बाद ये आना चाहिए और your email address is this. Right? Body close, HTML close. What is the output? Welcome, Bal Bharti. Okay. And address is, your email address is balbharti@balbharti.in. So both the values are considered here, right? In the post, how we are going to use get and post methods and how are we going to get the values. Now, $post and square bracket email double quotes helps us to get the data of form field whose name attribute is email. Okay, so I get the email text box, what it has, the value, whatever is inserted in the email text box, that value will be stored in email. And wherever I want to display that, I can display it as email. And the output is displayed as shown in 5.15.2. Let's understand another example with HTTP GET method. Okay, so this is GET method, HTML head, title I gave, head I gave, body. Now, form method. Now I am sending or passing on the form method as get. I'm giving get and action as BMI output.php. Okay, this is a PHP page in which after I submit my data, this page should open. Okay, Now, what is weight? Weight is kg. I want to see the weight. Input name equal to weight ID. Weight type equal to text. Height. Now, if I want height, here weight, I have given input name as weight. ID as weight and type as text. Okay. So if I want these to be done, I want the weight to be entered by the user. Then I will ask him to enter and I will give him a text box. Next, I want height. Weight I wanted in kg. Height I want in centimeter. Input name equal to height, ID equal to height, and text type equal to text. Okay. So I have two text boxes wherein I got the answer from the user. Class. Up third floor. Send 8 to monitor down. Okay. So I have two text boxes, weight and height. And next I have submit button with the ID submit. Value I have calculate and type is submit. Okay. So I am calculating the BMI, that is body mass, something is there, right? So that weight I am finding out with the help of this program. So I wrote the program, I have cleared my form. Output, weight, my first text box, it is taking 70, height 165. Okay, and then I have a button calculate. But did I write here something for calculation? No, I did not write anything for calculation. I've just designed this page. If I want to go for calculation, see here. BMI output.php is my actual calculating page. Okay. So I have my PHP tag, height, weight. Now where is the height and where is the weight? Here I have given get method for form. So what am I doing? $_get. And what I want to get, bracket double quotes height. Second, $weight. I want the weight of my body. So I have written here, right? I wrote my weight here, 165. 70 is my weight and height is 165. Okay, so 70 is my weight. That weight will be calculated or stored in this $weight. Heights in ms, heights in meter, I have converted that into 100 and taken it. So my BMI is $weight is my BMI. Next is she is in ms, multiplication of that $height in meters and multiplied with $height in ms. Okay. If $BMI is less than 18.5, then what? Then a message should go, you are underweight. If I give the BMI value as 18.5 to 24.9, yes, that will give me congrats, you have normal weight. If my BMI goes from, or it is greater than 24.9 and BMI is less than 29, okay, that time what I will get is you are overweight. Next $message, be careful, you are obsessed. So I have designed a page wherein I have BMI, knowing the weight and height. Then I create a function. I'm using the functions and getting the value, calculating it, giving the value. everything. Okay. Just check it here. Okay. So with the help of this program, I can find out whether my weight is less or more. Once you clicked on calculate button, the output is displayed as shown above. This output you will get. So students, get post, we'll see tomorrow. Okay. So hello, see you tomorrow. Join at the correct time so that we can complete this lesson. Okay. Chalo then. Take care.
Thank you,
Bye.
ma'am.
You're welcome.